While many fans believe that Jon Jones is reluctant to face Tom Aspinall, John McCarthy offered insight into the problem and a different viewpoint. Big John doesn't believe that. In fact, he thinks the heavyweight champion is so sure that he can defeat Aspinall. The question is whether he wants to fight him at all, and he must decide whether to take on the interim champion or to give up and end his career. This is where things get interesting. In just 3 months, Jones will surpass Cain Velasquez as the longest reigning heavyweight champion in UFC history. But if he does, it won't happen the way fans had hoped, because he has only defended the title once. Therefore, even though the statistic may seem impressive on paper, it isn't supported by the kind of activity that typically defines a legacy, especially when the most dangerous heavyweight contender is still awaiting his shot. MMA fans are beginning to become weary of this whole situation, and some ardent Jones followers are becoming irate since they are not only losing out on witnessing their favorite fighter, but are also being excluded from the eagerly anticipated heavyweight unification fight.
You know, Dana's done a great job for Jon. Put Jon Jones in a room with so-and-so and so-and-so and everybody in there, and I guarantee it's Jon Jones that walks out. He's probably right, you know? And so you look and you go, Jon just has to figure out, look, do I want to fight Tom Aspinall? Is it worth it to me? Do I care? Does Jon think that he can beat Tom Aspinall? Absolutely. No doubt about it. You know, and there's a good chance he could. But he just needs to figure out what's important to him. You know, you got plenty of money. You can live the rest of your life very well if you're not an idiot and blow it all. You know, you can do whatever, go wherever you want, do whatever you want. Jon is rich, okay? And Jon can do whatever he wants. So, you know, the whole thing with the Aspinall thing is, if you don't want to fight him, then don't fight him. You know, if the love of it is gone, walk away. If it's still there, then sign the contract and do your thing.
According to a recent interview with the UFC, Merab Dvalishvili stated that respect for Sean Ali and the competition was a major factor in his decision to compete in June. Merab wanted to give Sean adequate time to recuperate from the traditional procedure. The bantamweight champion talked about the past few months, his journey, his frustrations, and the long-awaited return. He's fought tooth and nail for every ounce of respect, and now he's defending his title for the second time against the man he took it from. As for the rematch with Sean, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. Yes, Merab dominated their first fight, the takedowns, the pace, the grind. It was vintage Dvalishvili, but Sean didn't fold like other fighters who have completely collapsed under Merab's unrelenting pressure. Although he had his moments, Ali persevered and didn't give up. O'Malley is motivated, healed, and seeking retribution. Although the first fight was one-sided, don't be shocked if it turns into a war. The champion is fired up, the challenger is dangerous, and the stakes could not be higher because Merab is coming off the most dominant run in the division.
Yeah, after I beat Umar, UFC called me and asked me if I want to fight either in April, which is here in Miami, or June in New Jersey. And I say yes to June in New Jersey because two reasons. First reason, this way Sean has more time to recovery, and the second reason is New Jersey is like it's gonna be like my home because I used to live in New York, I used to training there, I used to represent my Sierra Longo team, and lots of Georgian community lives in New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia area, and it's gonna be like my home. And yeah, all my teammates and all my country people will be there and cheering for me.
Khamzat. In a recent podcast with his friend Adam Zubaev, Chechen casually mentioned that he had no idea Leon Edwards would be at that gym. Khamzat and a few of his teammates had simply planned to squeeze in a training session during their time in England because he prefers to stay active even while traveling. What was meant to be a routine workout suddenly turned into an intense run-in between two fighters who were originally scheduled to face off but had no idea they'd end up in the same facility at the same time. Stories regarding Khamzat's erratic sparring techniques, such as his tendency to lose his cool around other professionals or to be excessively harsh on random social media celebrities, have become more frequent in recent years. Regardless of whether he is currently fighting Khamzat, these stories have kept his name in the news. Edwards and Chimaev were originally scheduled to fight back when Chimaev was still a welterweight, but that fight ultimately fell through after the Chechen moved up to middleweight. It didn't seem likely that they would face each other again unless Lion also decided to move up, or if Chime had somehow fallen back down. The unexpected encounter caught both fighters off guard. Here is a quotation from Che that explains how Khamzat believes that Leon grew noticeably agitated as soon as he saw him entering the gym and decided to avoid any engagement before Khamzat ever had a chance to speak. You can randomly run into fighters like that. When I saw Edwards inside, he appeared a little anxious, as if he was waiting for something to happen. I asked him to spar with me, but he said, "No, I have to go." I had no idea that this was a well-known gym or anything. Additionally, he simply fled. I'm not sure whether we will ever fight again, but I don't care, end quote. Sean doesn't really impress Corey Sandhagen. Although he admits that O'Malley's had a strong run and amassed a sizable fan base, Ali's resume is at least not comparable to his own. That's exactly what Corey feels separates him from Ali's experience against elite competition. He's been in there with killers for years, and he sees that as a key difference when imagining how a future fight between them would play out. Sandhagen believes the current champion hasn't yet experienced the same fire that guys like him, Morab, and Peter Yan have in his eyes. He's confident that if they eventually meet, he'll prove he's on another level until then. Corey is simply waiting for the day they enter the cage so he can settle it the way real fighters do. Quote, "I don't care about fan hype or online arguments. When Ali and I fight, I believe I'll have the chance to prove that I'm much better than him. Unless I get the chance, I don't feel like debating online who is better at what. One of these days, Ali isn't really one of those guys who can claim to have fought all the best of the best in the division. I believe that when he does, he'll have bad nights and lose, just like me sometimes having bad nights and losing. That's just the way fighting works." End quote. How do you think a fight between Sugar and the Sandman would look? Leave your thoughts below. That's all MMA. Psycho. Thank you for viewing.